Hello and welcome to our webinar. Thanks for joining. We'll just wait a few more seconds and minutes before we actually kick off here. Just stay tuned. People are just coming in. All right, let's get started. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, everybody. Thanks for joining our webcast, What's New with Microsoft Device Management, System Center, Configuration Manager, Intune, and, well, think about some other names if you like, and Axanto. So I'm really happy to present today to you a number of various presenters, let's have a quick round of introduction first, that you know who you have the pleasure with today. So I start from the right side, and Anoop, please start with a short introduction about yourself and then pass it on.
Hi, thank you, Christian. And my name is Anoop, and I am a Microsoft MVP for more than 5 years. And I'm mainly concentrating on device management technologies from Microsoft. That is basically SCCM and Intune. So over to you, Markus.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anoop. My name is Markus Köstner. I'm lead developer for the Axanto product suite at Axanto, and I'm 20 years software developer and have much experience. So I'd like to show you today something about Axanto.
Great, thank you. We also have Bruce Collin today here. Bruce, short introduction from you, please.
Hello, thank you. It's great to be here. I'm Bruce Cullen. I'm Director of Products and one of the founding members of IDO. We are all about Intune. We love Intune here, and I've been around monitoring and enterprise IT for a good long time, and it's great to be here today. Back to you, Christian.
Perfect, thanks, Bruce. So let's have a quick introduction about who's hosting this call today. So my name is Christian Heidkamp. I am the product manager for the Axanto product suite, a front end for SCCM server management system. We show today the Axanto Patch Manager and how you can delegate and automate and more facilitate your patch management system. But before to get to that, we'll give you a short overview about Axanto. Axanto is a brand. Remember that this is not a single company. It's a group of companies which run under the Axanto brand. All of these companies belong to Vinci or Vinci Energies. Vinci Energies belongs to a French company and spans on 27 countries around the world. And well, we've just increased the revenue by over 200 million in last year. So I just had to update the numbers. We have 12,500 employees on various places. And perfect, sorry. And yes, I just want to give you an overview of what we provide in terms of the agenda for today. So can you just move forward to the agenda point, please? Perfect. So in the beginning, I want to just ask Anoop to give us an update on the Configuration Manager and Intune. So even myself, I'm confused by all the different names that came out recently. So and then we have tip and tricks. With that, I actually like to pass it over to Anoop. So Anoop, I'll just pass over the presenter role to you. So just give me a second. And then the stage is yours.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Christian. So let me try to share my screen. Hopefully, I'm going to share the correct screen this time. Okay, so hopefully you can see my presentation. Is that okay?
I'm currently seeing your slide deck, yes, but not the presenter mode yet.
Okay, Okay, let me put that into presenter mode. Okay, cool. So first of all, welcome you all. And today I'm trying to kind of remove the confusion from all of your minds. What is happening with SCCM, Intune, and branding from a Microsoft side of it. So let's try to understand what is Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Right? Microsoft introduced a new brand name, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, back in 2019 during the Ignite presentation. Okay, and then they added configuration manager, that is SCCM, and Intune under this branding, and a lot of other products as well, like Windows Autopilot, etc., 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 into this Microsoft Endpoint Manager branding, right? And then recently what happened is in 2022 Ignite, what they did is they changed the branding again, and then now the Microsoft Endpoint Manager brand is gone. It's vanished. Okay, so now the new brand name for all these products, right? Intune, Configuration Manager, Intune Suite for Advanced Solutions, etc., etc., Remote Help, etc. All this comes under a brand called Microsoft Intune. Okay, so Microsoft Intune is a product umbrella now, and Configuration Manager, aka SCCM, is coming under Microsoft Intune now, as you can see in the slide. So there's no confusion going forward. The brand name is Microsoft Intune, and that has Intune, Configuration Manager, and all the other new stuff which is coming into Intune. Something like Remote Help, as you can see, mobile, Microsoft Tunnel for mobile applications, and privilege management, etc., etc. Right? So hope that is clear now. Let's go into a bit more details of that branding structure and what is the licensing model. I'm not expert in licensing over here, but I can provide you some tips about the licensing model over here with Microsoft Intune. Okay, so as you can see on the right side of the slide, there are additional products like Remote Help, a Tunnel for mobile application management, and then a privilege management, advanced endpoint analytics. Okay, so these are not coming with the standard bundle of EMS products. Okay, EMS license, I would say. Okay, so for these products, additional products, you need to have a separate license. You need to purchase these products with a separate additional license. So that is a catch over here. So you need it. I thought it is important to share that information also, so that there won't be any confusion in terms of understanding the licensing model also from a very high level perspective. Okay, so that is all about branding. What are the changes happened in the branding? Okay, etc. So okay, now let's go on to the next part of my presentation, and that would be more interesting and that would be more technical, I would assume, and for you, right? So recently Microsoft introduced the latest version of Configuration Manager, and that is 22.11. Okay, so 22.11 got released, and it got a lot of new features, additional features, enhancements, etc. But today I wanted to share my this share the viewers about the new thing which got introduced, or additional feature which got introduced, that is sync between a collection, SCCM collection or Configuration Manager collection, and Azure Active Directory device groups. Okay, so at the moment you can sync your collections, device collections, to Azure Active Directory groups, device groups. So that isn't that interesting? I have seen always SCCM admins feedback that, oh, okay, in SCCM collections we can have different queries and very complex queries, and we can kind of uh, create collections based on application installation, installed application, etc., etc. But probably that is not possible in Azure Active Directory groups. Okay, so this is one of the method probably you can use if you are linked your SCCM with Intune, right? So this is a feature you can use. And additionally, what Microsoft did with 2211 is there's a monitoring workspace, and in the monitoring workspace you can see the status, collection, cloud sync, okay, device collections, etc. So you can see how your collections are getting synced, etc., etc., from the monitoring tab. So that would be very helpful for the operation. So let's move on to the next part of the presentation. And now we talked about SCCM. Now let's see what is exciting in terms of Intune. What are the new updates coming into Intune? Okay, so let's close this, and hopefully you can still see my screen, right? And
Oh, good. I see your browser now. Perfect.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So this is the see again. There's a confusion over here. Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center. They changed the brand name to Intune, but the portal is still Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Don't worry about that. It will change soon. Okay, so it will change soon to Microsoft Intune branding, and probably the URL also. I don't know. We will wait and see. Okay, how this how these changes are going to affect, and when this changes are going to take effect. Okay, so first of all, as you can see over here, there are a lot of platforms added recently. One thing which I wanted to concentrate quickly go into is Chrome OS. So this is the latest thing which got added into Microsoft Intune platform. Okay, and I just wanted to quickly go over applications and see what is exciting over there. Okay, this is really exciting, which Microsoft introduced a new Microsoft Store, okay, in one of the ignites. Okay, so they are kind of retiring Microsoft Store for business, and they are introducing Microsoft Store, the new Microsoft Store based on Windows Package Manager repository. So Microsoft Intune has this feature already integrated, and it's in preview. I'm going to show you a quick demo how quickly you can add applications from Microsoft Store, the new Microsoft Store, UWP application as well as Win32 application, all right, without any conversion. We used to do a lot of conversions into Intune Win format, etc., for Win32 application deployment in Intune. But with this, if the vendor is uploading their files to Windows Package Manager, you can directly install or create application using a Win32 format as well, right? So let's see that. Click on add, and let's see what are the options over here. Microsoft Store app, this is a new legacy Windows Package Manager integration, one that is Windows Update, Store for Business, which is going to retire soon. So I'm going to click on the new one and click on Okay, and over here you will get a hyperlink. So if you click on hyperlink, that will open up a window, another window, and over here you would be able to see one of my favorite application, WhatsApp. Okay, so if you see WhatsApp, the application type is UWP, and that is a modern application. So if you want to deploy WhatsApp, you can just click on WhatsApp and select, and all these, the beauty of it is all these are automatically populated, right? All the description, all the package identifier, installer type, user, and all those things, even the privacy URL, all those things are automatically selected. You don't need to fill in anything. And click next and go through the creation process. So I don't want to kind of deploy this application to a Azure Active Directory group, etc. at the moment. Uh, I want to quickly show another demo, which is the standard application, right? Maybe 7-zip, huh? 7-zip. If I can do that, 7-zip, and you can see this is a Win32 application. This is not a modern application, but this is a Win32 application. And the beauty of it is it will automatically create a Intune Win format file for you and create an application. So you don't need to go through that conversion process in Intune. Earlier, we used to do that for all the Win32 application. So with the new Windows Package Manager Microsoft Store integration, you don't need to do that. You can just say, okay, Win32 application, and click on next, and the application is going to get created, and you would be able to see, okay, the Win32 application is ready for you to use. So I thought that these things are very interesting for you. Hopefully you like it, and I think that was the quick demo and explanation from my side. Back to you, Christian.
Perfect. Yes, thanks, Anoop. Thanks for the demo. And I wish I would have 7-zip on my system, actually. So I think I should ask our administrator to just deploy this as well. So that's typically quite helpful. Perfect. Yes, thanks. So, and for everybody who is listening in today here, if you have questions, please feel free to use the question areas we have available. So just type in your questions. We either take it directly, or we have a Q&A section later and a panel discussion where we pick up those questions. So feel free to key them in as we speak. Next coming up is Markus, who will give us an overview of the latest changes of Axanto and what we do for server patching on the System Center Configuration Manager side. And quick question back to you, Anoop. So you say Microsoft Configuration Manager is a subset of Intune, if I got that right. Is it now Microsoft Configuration MCM? What's the new acronym? What do we use?
It is just Configuration Manager. SCCM,
Okay,
or aka SCCM. SCCM is not the official one, but the official name is Configuration Manager. But it comes under Intune product umbrella.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So I got that correctly then. So we are back to Config Manager, and I'm on the safe side then with that one. Wonderful, great. So I'll handing back over now to Markus to take us through the next agenda item, the updates for the Axanto Patch Manager. Markus, stage is yours,
yes.
Please.
Thank you very much, Christian. Yes, I'm going to tell you something about the Axanto Patch Manager, what's new, what's the features we have introduced the last month. And I'd like to begin with what is exactly the Axanto Patch Manager, so that you have an idea about what I am speaking. Our Patch Manager is a kind of remote control for SCCM or CM or whatever configuration manager. And yeah, it enables you, though, is that your users can define how the server systems or even client systems are patched. So the problem we face on many customer sites is that there are server systems which needs to be patched, but the patches are not applied because the servers have to run, of course. It's not able to reboot them during the day, and so the server owners always say, no, it's not possible to patch that system because it's really productive and critical for our company. And that says every system owner, so no systems got patched. So that's the problem at that point, and our product enables the system owners that they see, okay, there are pending patches for their systems, and they can go to the systems and can define maintenance windows and can define with how the systems are patched and when they get patched. So actually, it's a product for transparency and documentation and enabling not expert users to interact with the configuration manager from Microsoft. So that's the challenges when we talk about patching. It's always like, okay, the patch Tuesday starts and there are new updates. What do we do then? Are they stable? Can we deliver them to the productive system? So we have implemented the best practices in our product so that we have different waves. Starting with Patch Tuesday, we can start with it's definable. We can start with the integration wave if you want to, where we deploy this patches to some systems which can be easily replaced or easily recovered. Then we go further on after perhaps a week when we have tested that patches. If everything is okay, we can go onto the quality wave and can say, okay, now we go to real life systems, but not productive systems. And if that is okay too, we can start with the production wave and go to the real systems that matter. Yeah, actually, as I said, we are kind of remote control. We are in gathering the information from this SCCM, from the databases, and the information is collected in our system, and we enrich them with further information like what waves the systems are in and what are the system owners and deputies and so on. And we provide some functionality like workflows and information mails and something like this. What have we done in the last month is to enhance the system, our patch manager, so that we can support multiple waves and we can support multiple maintenance windows. Why have we done that? In the last months and years, customers came to us and said, okay, the normal ways, it's pretty cool, and we can do the default, the standards stuff with that, like Patch Tuesday and roll out the updates. That's great, but sometimes we have some hot fixes we have to deploy very fast to the systems because we don't want to get hacked. You know what I mean? So there was the request that the system can go to multiple waves, so that if a hotfix is there, the hotfix is actually applied at once to the systems or as fast as it's possible. So that was the point of that. And the other point, to create multiple maintenance windows for the systems occurred at customers too. They said, okay, we have the possibility to create a maintenance window with recurrence, where you can define, okay, every week or every month, the system is a maintenance window and the patches get applied. But sometimes that's not enough, because sometimes they are system owners, they have defined maintenance windows over the whole year, and they want at individual dates, not at defined recurrence. So we would like to define that maintenance windows of the whole year for the system, so that the system owner do that once and fire and forget, so as to say, they define the maintenance window and then they're set in the system, and they don't have to look at the systems every time a patch is rolled out. So I'd like to show you that. I'm switching to actually our system. We now see the browser. There's where you can see our patch manager. The patch manager is a modern web user interface. defined with a navigation area with a top bar and with some information like who am I and what language do I want to use for the system, what roles do I have, and so on. And everything depends on the roles. You know, now I'm administrator, so I see many navigation points here with administration and basic settings. And if I would not be a manager, that would not be here. So I just reduce my roles, and then I just have the it's not working here. Okay, so if I hadn't the roles, the navigation points here would be smaller. So now I have just my managed systems and so on, and I would see less navigation points and less information on the screen. Back to the normal roles. So, and on the right side, we have some lists where you can see, okay, what systems do I have? Can show you in another system. There are more computers here where you can see what devices are in our management and what status is have the systems, what patch level do they have, and so on. That's all the information I can see here. This system is critical, though the patch status is critical, so the system owner can see at once that there's something to do. I can go into the system and can see further information here, just like, okay, what are the pending patches, what software is installed already, and I can provide a description here if I want to. And then we have the new features here. I can provide multiple waves here. And so if I want to have another wave, I could put it to the production, or I could have defined a hot patch wave here so that the systems get patches and critical patches even faster. What we now here see is that the system owner, when I'm going as system owner into the system, I just have one maintenance window. That was a request from customers after we implemented the multiple maintenance windows. They said, okay, you know, for the normal system owner, it's better if there's just one maintenance window, because if there are more than one, they're getting confused. So we have made both possible for the default system owners. We have just one maintenance window, and if you want to have an advanced view, we can make that role-based, that you have more maintenance window, and then you have the possibility to create here a new maintenance window, again with the possibilities you have in the SCCM, like what recurrence do you want, because perhaps you would want to have that monthly, every month, on the last day, or on the last Sunday. So that's all the possibilities you have in the SCCM2 for creating a maintenance window here. We have implemented also a templates feature, so that the administrator can make some predefined settings for the maintenance windows, best practices, or defined practices in the company. So actually, that the two features, we have multiple waves, we have multiple maintenance windows here, and everything for the customer, as to say, we can provide that as with multiple maintenance windows, or can use one simple maintenance window if you don't want to confuse the system administrators, or they don't need the function of the multiple maintenance windows. So yeah, that's actually what we have done the last month. What are we up to in this year? So a little bit of an outlook for our patch manager is that we're starting with a brand new application management. The applications you have now in the SCCM will get synced with our patch manager, so that administrators can see what applications are available. We will provide the possibility to assign applications to individual users or to individual systems. We will cover the application approval process, so that the administrators can approve application requests from which are now staged at the SCCM with our user interface. And last but not least, will be a new function. So if a user gets a new device, and you want to migrate the old device to the new device so that all the applications and settings which were at the old device gets applied to the new device. So that is a one-click process to migrate to a new machine, and all the applications are available again for the user. Yeah, last but not least, I would like to show you at least what the Axanto product suite consists of. You have seen now the Axanto Patch Manager. We have also the Axanto Service Designer. It's an addition to the System Center Operations Manager, a plugin, if you want so. We have the Axanto Portal for a complete service management based on the System Center Service Manager. And last but not least, we have our Axanto Notify. It's an enterprise notification system where you can define and deploy and inform your users using a consistent system. If you're interested in anything, please feel free to contact me or Christian here if you have any questions to that product. Yeah, and with that, I would like to give it over back to Christian.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Great, Markus, for the presentation. And for the details you shared now. Now I think it's time to actually have a look on what IDO can provide. So I call this a bit the lightning talk. So we'll have like a bit of time now still left, like 10 to 15 minutes. So this is also kind of new to me. So I'm really excited to see what Bruce can present us. So I invited him here to this round to actually add some kind of new inventions, what's been around the Intune portfolio. So, and I'm really curious to also see what is happening there. So I'm gonna hand over, Bruce, to you the presentation role. So, and looking forward what you can share with us. And again, to everybody, if you have questions either for Markus, Anoop's sessions, or also for Bruce sessions, please add them to the question area, and then we can actually take them in a round in a moment after Bruce completed. So, Bruce, stage is yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And thank you for that introduction. It's great to be here today. And before I witter on too much, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay, good. That's always a good thing to check before you get too far in. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about IDO, who we are and what we do. Unsurprisingly for you guys, it's all in the area of Intune. Intune is a fantastic product that we can unlock true insight from with awesome dashboards, reporting, and integrations. So it's clear that here at IDO, we really like Intune. It's a fantastic product, sorting out all of your MDM and MAM needs. I'm really keen to see and dig in more to what Anoop you shared earlier on about the Windows App Store. A really interesting concept, them taking a swing at the likes of Chocolatey and Scatman with what they're building there. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Intune is very well supported as a product, but obviously it's a Microsoft product, but it's a large flagship product, so you can always get what you need, both from Microsoft and also by the community themselves. You can always find the answer on some forum or another if you need it. It's also very affordable. For the vast majority of users, the basics of Intune are included in your EA, essentially, with Microsoft. Interesting to see what they're doing in the area around premium add-ons. Remote help is the one that springs to mind that you know, I can see being made part of the base pack for Intune in the future, but we'll have to see. Intune does, however, have some downsides. If you have issues in the area of managed apps or config, it's very bad at letting you know about those issues. You can get notifications for some areas of Intune, but only for some areas of Intune, managed apps being an example of an area that you can't get notifications. But not just that, in the native dashboarding, it's really hard to actually see what's going on. So you end up having to live in the Intune data warehouse to see what you need to see. Patchy notifications is another area. So there's some areas, as I said earlier, that you simply can't get insights from Intune on as far as notifications are concerned. So you're left to PowerShell script, essentially, up notifications, which is not ideal. Let's not even go into the area of Teams and Slack integrations that are simply missing right now. And of course, there's nothing to be said for digital experience monitoring. So this is essentially after you've deployed the application, how do your users experience that application? How do they interact with it? Is it, the only lever you have is support tickets most commonly, and that's clearly reactive, not proactive. So to illustrate this pain, I've got a few screenshots here of a very small example customer from our list of customers. And we're looking here at Windows devices, obviously in the Intune Admin Center, or as was Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center. Looking forward to getting that branding updated in the product by Microsoft. We're looking at Windows devices here. I've got one device that is not compliant, and that's very clear from this dashboard. But the expectation is, so if I click into this second device, that it will be happy. I will see no issues because it's marked as compliant, and that's the only indicator of health on this dashboard. If I click in and I go down to my managed applications for this device, I see that I have a required install managed app that is not installed. It's currently in the waiting for install status. Now, clearly, if the application is currently being installed, that's totally fine. But in this case, this was sat in this state for over a month. And this is the application in question is our antivirus. So this is clearly quite an important application. And we want to know this thing is not installed. After all, it is a required install. Not ideal. And of course, no alerts out of the box in this area. So it didn't tell us this. We stumbled upon it by accident. Large issue as far as I'm concerned. Then moving on to device configuration. For Cyber Essentials, which is in the UK, a security standard, we are required to disable auto run and autoplay, which we could do through device configuration policy. Obviously, this can be done with Intune, no problems there. But as this isn't part of compliance, you'll need to create custom policies in PowerShell to actually make this happen. So again, there's no notifications where it's not successful, which is really frustrating and can leave you unprotected and uncompliant in this case. So I'm going to show you now IDO, show you what we can do in this area and show you how it sort of contrasts. So this is demo time. So this is the IDO portal, and we're looking here at the primary dashboards there is to see, and you can see immediately there are apps in different devices, in different statuses. We've got 9 that are in the unhealthy state. We have our top issues here categorized by the number of devices that see them, and we have the most recent issues here as well as the breakdown by operating system and compliance. This is represented in a sort of SLA gauge, the thinking being that longer term we can see CIOs and such setting SLAs for compliance, because it makes sense. Why do you care about compliance in the first place if you don't care about reporting on it? So if we now drill down into these 9 unhealthy devices, we get a view of them. We can see why they're unhealthy. So we have a column here for device health. This is sort of the digital experience monitoring aspect of IDO. We have issues related to compliance policies, config policies, and managed apps. So if I now drill into our compliance policies, you'll see here very obviously I have one that is in a non-compliant state, which is great. And if I click a level deeper, you can see the details on the drill down of what is not compliant. It's our required BitLocker item, which is clearly important for security. Going back up a level to devices again, if we go into a device that has config policy issues, these are surfaced in exactly the same way. This one is in an amber state because it is not compliant. I'll come onto the color coding in a second as it's all configurable. This device also has an issue in the area of managed apps. Again, this is our antivirus where the Intune state is in failed and it's a required install. I can see that's very, very powerful and useful for understanding the state of things here. So I mentioned the color coding here. I'll just show you how that works because this is all kind of configurable. First thing to say on linking to Intune is you can link to one or many Intune tenants. I currently have it linked to a single Intune tenant. And for each tenant, you can customize thresholds for each individual compliance configuration policy and for each managed app. So in this case, if I go to my configuration policy as an example, this Win 11 testing configuration profile is just me testing something. I don't care what color it goes. It's more for sort of interest and for testing things than because it's mission critical, which is not the case in the case of my BitLocker and firewall configuration profile, which I want to immediately go red. So you get the idea. This is all configurable. And on top of that, we have alerts. Now alerts, if I go and create one, can take many forms, from email to Slack to Teams to webhooks. So ultimately, you can send these alerts wherever you want with IDO. If I go to Teams, you'll ask for the webhook URL from Teams where you want to send these alerts. You'll then ask what you want to alert on, amber, red, both, and what types of issues you would like to alert on. And you can obviously create multiple alert rules. So you can build in here essentially whatever you like to get alerts to the right teams based on what they manage and based on what matters to your organization, fully customizable. Oh, I've only got 1 minute left, so I'm going to show you one final thing quickly. I mentioned digital experience monitoring. In my eyes, this is essentially the journey between the endpoint or the laptop or device your end user is using and the applications they're trying to access. So this is quite nicely visualized in their journey from endpoint to internet. And at each stage of the journey, there can be issues. So computer, the basics of CPU and memory, if there are issues in this area, we will pick them up. We have an agent for digital experience monitoring that captures these things. Similarly, in the area of interface, sometimes the issues are not what you might expect. They're not a case of signal strength being an issue, but channel utilization or no bandwidth available. When it comes to gateway, packet loss and latency, latency is a big one that we see. Latency doesn't have to be introduced external, like to your networks. It could be within your own internal network. Especially now we have users more and more becoming remote and working from coffee shops and the like. Coffee shop internet is notoriously not great. And the first thing the end user is going to do is pick up the phone to support and blame you, essentially, for whatever the issue is, when in reality, it might not be you, as you get visibility. Same is true with DNS. DNS response issues can cause essentially latency to the end user's experience, and obviously internet as well, so upload and download speeds and packet loss. I could go deeper, but I simply don't have the time. So all that's really left to do is, if I just quickly flip back to my slides, is just to say, if you like what you've seen today, go to ido.cloud, where you can have a look at what we've built, and of course, check it out. It's SaaS, and you can just have a look there. And if you have any questions, any feedback, anything at all, you can email us hello@ido.cloud. So that's all I had to say today. Thank you very much for having me here. Back to you, Christian.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Bruce, for this very interesting item. And I really like the end-to-end part. So that's been quite helpful, actually, because sometimes what's going on with the network? Even this morning across Europe, there was a problem with Teams. Maybe some of you noticed, or SharePoint. Yeah. It's what's going on? Is that my local provider? And it's always a challenge. So everything that helps with monitoring and pinning the root cause really is helpful. So with that, actually, I think Markus, if you can put up the slide again with the pictures of all of us. So we're going basically back now to a panel discussion. So I've received already a couple of questions. So so we can actually start with some of them. So basically the first question that came in is it's really around as a server side, actually. So it's a kind of a mixture. Probably the question is, do we have an option to create and deploy server-side applications in Intune? So again, do we have an option to create and deploy server-side applications in Intune? So Anoop, that's probably Intune, given their brand name as Intune, right? So, but maybe you can help with answering that question.
Yep, sure. I will try. We might need more clarification on that question itself. What does that mean by server-side application, right? So from my perspective, most of the application which is deployed through SCCM can be deployed from Intune as well. Right, so the server-side application might need the connectivity to the server, but that is nothing to do with Intune as such, because Intune is a deployment tool, right? It is. I always say SCCM as a delivery person, right? SCCM and Intune delivers a particular package with the instruction at your door side, right? Probably at on a Windows device or a iOS device or Mac OS device if it's Intune, and then the operating system or other things within the operating system to make sure that the instructions are followed correctly, the installation goes well, etc., etc. So I don't think there would be any difficulties installing server-side applications, at least the client side of it, right? Maybe I just thought, maybe are we talking about, or are you talking about an application which should be installed on a server OS? Okay, if that is the question, then my answer would be different, because at the moment Intune doesn't support server operating systems. Okay, so if you want to manage a server operating system.
Yeah, well, Anoop, when you say Intune, you mean Intune, right? You don't mean the brand Intune, because like.
Yeah,
SCCM.
yeah,
So,
that's a good clarification. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
I meant Intune, the SaaS solution provided by Microsoft. Okay. Hopefully that answers the question. I don't know any additional follow-up questions. Always ask in the chat so that we can reply.
It'll be interesting to figure out more details there, because you're not going to deploy Exchange via an automated, app management system. Let's face it, are you? It's a complex server-side application. So I'd be really interested to get more detail as to what that person was trying to do.
Actually, there's a follow-up question to that one by now in the Q&A area. So maybe we can just continue a bit. Well, the primarily question was on the server side, which actually, as we think about a server-side application, think about an Oracle database or an SAP system, right? So we think there's a deployment mechanism, because I know we do provisioning to standardized deployment, like either using Chef or some of Ansible or some of the automation frameworks to deploy something. So basically, what is the Microsoft answer to this? And I think there's the possibility in the configuration manager. So because Markus, we talked about like reflecting the applications also in the Axanto Patch Manager, so we can patch those server-side applications as well. So there is the possibility to do that. So the questions, obviously, I guess, is towards the complexity, right? So if you deploy an Oracle database, the standard will do probably, but as soon as it gets more complex, then there are some limitations, I think. Markus, do you have anything to add there? Okay, so I think you're on mute.
So sorry, yeah. Now I think the complexity is the problem here, because we have doing some setups too for our patch manager and portal and so on, and to check all the prerequisites is tough enough for a setup system. So if you want to provide that as it is, and you don't have a green field approach for the target system, it can get really nasty at that point. So I think that's the problem that we have to face here.
Okay, so let's keep it with the server side for that. Let's look at the client side, because the follow-up question has a detail. The person who asked the question is like, what if I want to deploy an application such as AutoCAD with all the profile configurations through Intune? Well, I guess like if you have a design studio, like have 100 people working with AutoCAD, you want to automate that process. So do you have the possibility in Intune to do that?
Yes, I think the SaaS solution, Intune,
Yes,
it has the possibility to install AutoCAD application or any other kind of application. But there's a catch over there. There's a limit of the maximum size of source files which we can upload into Intune. But I have heard there are service requests which you can raise, and if Microsoft support team can help you to increase that limitation. So even that is possible. So Microsoft is kind of helping the community to deploy all those kind of big applications, I would say.
Okay, perfect. Let's leave it with that, and follow-up questions we can take later on offline. Okay, wonderful. So I want to face another point that, well, we get this question asked frequently. It's about Linux, because Anoop, you showed actually that there are a couple of clients now supported. You have Chrome OS, I saw on your list, and some others, right? Even though in a preview, so Linux actually is more and more also getting used basically as a client system, although yeah, it might be not common for us, but I know some people even in my team, they love Linux and use it also in their UI, and then basically keep Windows aside in a little container or a little VM on the Linux system, right? So can you just give us a bit of a background what the Linux support on Intune means? Like, I mean the SaaS solution in this case now, because we know the config manager does not support at this point.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarification on the SaaS solution again. Yeah, so now Microsoft supports some of the Linux distribution, or I don't know what is it exactly called. I forgot the name, but all the Linux operating systems are not supported, but only the subset of Linux operating systems are supported. Again, this is only for us, as you mentioned, it is only for the client side of it, right? So if you are trying to manage Linux a server operating system, that is not supported from an Intune side of it, right?
Okay, great. So I guess I will ask you one point to demo that. So to patch a Linux system, being at Ubuntu distribution for some, because I haven't seen that yet, but I've got to be curious on that. So but we'll keep that for later. There's another question which I think drives us around a number of times is around reporting, because Bruce showed a bit, and Markus, I think we also have a possibility to understand a bit where are we missing patches, where are we missing patches, which are devices out of compliance. So it's really like where is the problem, and this is key. So if maybe Anoop, you can just have a short answer like what does Intune offer for patch reporting, and then maybe Markus, you can also quickly show maybe a screen or just give an answer on that.
Okay, sure. So again, this is a SaaS solution answer, and yes, Microsoft Intune has some inbuilt reporting capabilities, but as you can see all around the industry, the feedback, even from the Gartner, there's a feedback from Gartner as well, stating, okay, the Intune reports are basic. Okay, they are not very advanced. There are possibilities, there are community solutions, and even Bruce showed us some of the interesting reporting features, right? So there are a lot of solutions available, but if you talk about the native reporting features, there are still a lot of gaps, and there are a lot of R&D we might need to do if you want to get some reports from log analytics, etc.
Perfect. Maybe Bruce, just want to can you just add to that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So this is next up for us on our list of things to do. We've made a start with what we've shown today, but reporting is clearly a big gap in Intune. You know, as you mentioned, there are things out there. It seems like probably at least once a week something in my feed appears around someone building a single standalone report for Intune. What I'm really interested in hearing is what specific reports are people lacking. I've heard lots of generic, you know, the reporting in Intune is bad, but those specifics are the gaps that I'm really looking to start to plug with IDO. Essentially, there are plenty of them, and I will start with what's already out there on forums and in the community, but feedback in this area is so key, both for Microsoft, but also speaking for myself as someone who works for a company that makes something like this. Feedback is key here.
Great. Server side, Markus, anything you can add to that?
Yeah, of course. I think SCCM, the on-premise solution, as to say, offers some reports, but many customers gave feedback that the reports are not really understandable or not complete at that point. So we have introduced and implemented some reports in our patch manager, like the critical missing updates of all servers, of all activated servers, so that we can see at one point what are the bad guys in the network, as to say. And we have implemented some charts. We can provide customizable charts for software update groups depending on collection, so that you can see, okay, that kind of servers with that updates, what service has not installed that updates yet. So that are the questions from the customer, because every customer has the same problem. They want to see where are the systems that are not really patched, what systems are missing patches, and we can provide that in a patch manager in a good view.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, thanks for that. And we can, well, there are some screenshots available for the reports we do, especially like missing patches and those kind of things that is available in the patch manager. All right. So yeah, we'll get a quick. Yeah, thanks for showing that. So for those who are interesting, so it looks like we're good. We have good patching here, so no patches are missing. So everything is patched. That's how it should be. All green.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Just like a prod.
Bad team system here.
Yeah, no. Well, that's how it should be. It's all good. So perfect. Yeah, because like it's like the point where we don't want to miss out on those patches. Great. So there's a general question basically, which basically goes from my side really to understand those a bit. What are the biggest gaps or holes basically you see in Intune? And maybe I put this to Bruce. So like again, seeing the SaaS solution here, which is there, which most of customers use, also those that don't look on the server patching side. So what do you see as gaps? And Anoop, feel free to chip in.
Sure. So this is obviously an area that I'm particularly interested in. I see, anything, Intune's great at doing the mobile device management, the mobile app management, but it's just really bad at reporting on what it's doing and telling you where it goes wrong, essentially. So notifications, reporting, dashboarding, we've touched on a bunch of these things today already. But I would say those things. I'm really interested to hear, Anoop, what your take is on this, because I'm sure there are additional kind of pain points out there with Intune that are outside of those areas as well.
Okay, so yeah, please, Anoop.
Okay, so reporting, as we already mentioned, so I will skip that part. And the second part I wanted to kind of concentrate or highlight is probably the RBAC. Maybe there are some gaps in the RBAC model, role-based access, etc. If you are having a big organization, if you are implementing Intune for a big organization, a global organization with different OPCO admins and span across the globe, then there are some interesting challenges you will get into in terms of RBAC, etc., etc. So I will leave that at that point.
Okay, that's a good point to keep on thinking. So, and I think it's also a good point to close here today the session. The last questions are in there we'll take offline. So you're running out of time. We have like 1 minute to close here. So first, I'd like to thank you, Anoop, for taking the time, sharing with us some insights, some overview and clarification on the name. So I think the slides you had are really good. So I will keep Configuration Manager in mind and Intune on top, and I'll refer to the SaaS solution and the on-premise solution again. So I guess that's fine. And Bruce, also thanks for presenting IDO, and Markus showing on the Axanto product. So with that, thank you. Thanks all for who dialed in for the day, and I wish you good rest of the day, and stay tuned for more information from us, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.